Good evening, all. I hope you're all with us. I hope you can hear us. I hope you can see us. Please let us know if you can. That's 5 minutes of my waffle done with. But normally we start off most of these asking that you're with us to let us know. So hopefully you can hear us. Hopefully you're there with us. Please let us know in the comments. How are you all this evening? You can probably tell we're in a bit of an erratic mood at this end. One of them days, really. I don't know. It's sort of all been a bit bitty and we've sort of run around in circles. But of course, before it sounds like I'm moaning, because I'm really not moaning, it's launch day. How exciting is launch day? Now, already I can see that lots of you have been putting in comments telling me that your Rippled Bloom collection, or Blooms? Rippled Blooms collection, I don't know, is it Blooms or Blooms? I've spelt this or wrote this about 30 times now I'm missing if there's an S or there isn't. Launched today to the world, which is really, really exciting and really, really cool. But I can see that many of you have already received yours from our exclusive time period with Highlight Crafts, which is actually really, really cool as well to see that they've started arriving and that you've already got them. So yay, it's exciting, isn't it? I've seen a few people say that you were putting them up for Christmas. And then some of you have said, I was going to order it for Christmas and I've already given in and opened it, which is even more exciting. And if you have had your Happy Mail arrive with us, please don't forget to share a little picture of it on our new group. Little shameless plug here, but if you haven't already joined our new group, I would love to see you on our new group, which is called Created with Jamie Rodgers Crafts. And that is literally your home hub place to chat and show us what you've been making, show us what you've ordered, show us what's arrived, show us anything really. Just your little hub to contact us, talk to us, and hopefully be inspired. Obviously, the main page is still the main page, but it's really the place where instead of listening to me waffle like you are now, is more what you're doing and what you're creating and your place to share. So yeah, Happy Mail is one of them things we love to see because we like to join in with the excitement of what you're receiving and what you're liking and what's arrived with you. So then, I do of course have a Peter with us this evening. Shall we say good evening to Peter before I forget?
Evening all, how are we all doing? I've got to make an announcement. I've just seen Kim's not at the pub tonight.
Kim's not at the pub.
She's not at the pub tonight.
Not at the pub.
Well
that's got to be our first time that we've done one of these, and Kim's not said, I've got to go because I'm off.
She hasn't said she's going to the pub. She just said she's not at the pub.
Okay, well, Kim, we need 15 minutes, 15-minute check-ins to let us know on if you're in the pub or you're not in the pub. This is pure jealousy that we request about, and possible concern, drink responsibly and all that lot. But actually, there's a lot more to a pub than just drinking, isn't there? So then, let's have a little look. Let's say hello to some people because I can see lots of bits chugging up on the screen and it's nice to see you're with us. So we've got a Maureen with us. Evening. Hello, Alison. I had Happy Mail half an hour ago. Oh, that's good. I don't know where you are, but you've got late delivery, haven't you? That's what we like. They're working hard at the moment, aren't they? We've had that here a couple of times that the postman sort of knocked on the door at 7, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
And it's lovely to see that they're trying to catch up. We know it's Christmas. We know that there's going to be delays, but it is nice to see that they're working hard to try and keep them to a minimum. Evening, Kim. Oh, that's our Kim who's not in the pub. That's good. Evening, Wendy. Hello, Sharon. Hello, Sheila. Hello, Chrissy. Hello, Samantha. Evening, Pippa. Thank you for the wonderful cards. I put a photo of my dad in. Oh, that's lovely to hear. That's really nice. Pippa, for anyone who doesn't know, won our cards last week that we made. And of course, you can win our cards this week. And I'll tell you how to do that in just a moment. Evening, Lynn. Evening, Chrissy. Hello, Fran. Lovely to have you with us. Sue. Jean's with us. Sharon's with us. Oh, you're all here, aren't you? Evening, Diane. Yeah, I think I've got you all. Cherylene's with us. Well, there's loads of you, so thank you for joining us. Tonight is one of them awkward nights. Of course, we have our launch to talk about, but this is really just an excuse to catch up and say hello to you all, to be honest. So if anyone has any questions that they would like us to answer, then please let us know and we will do our best to answer them for you. I'm going to be honest, I'm not overly prepared tonight, so please don't ask for anything too in-depth, simply because if I keep forgetting things and keep sending, honestly, the last 10 minutes, I've had Pete up and down the stairs to my craft room, like there's no tomorrow, going to fetch bits because I get saying, oh, I haven't got that. And then in his absence, I went and knocked a whole tub of stuff all over the floor, which he missed out on.
Kept that one quiet.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, or I knocked 2 of these off of the trolley and I had endless knives and forks and knives and forks. That would be a problem.
That would be a problem.
Knives and forks? Try scissors. I'm doing a lot of that today. I warn you, you're in for a bumpy ride. Scissors and tools and paintbrushes all over the floor. So then, what's been going on this week and what's going on for the rest of the week before we get started? So obviously this week we kicked things off with a few shows on Highlight Crafts, which was, as always, genuinely, and I truthfully mean this, incredible fun. I love being at Highlight Crafts. They're such a lovely team to be with, and actually, not only is it about the team, it's about your interactivity, because if you can talk to us directly, a bit like tonight, but in a TV setting or that style, we don't normally have that. But actually to be able to answer your questions live is really, really lovely. So that was, of course, Tuesday, wasn't it? I have to try and remember my days. That was Tuesday. And then tomorrow, and this is your question for your winnings. I'm not going to tell you the time. Tomorrow, we're doing a live with Craft Stash in the morning. If you can tell me what time it is, one of you will win whatever we make tonight. So it's an easy question to find the answer to, nothing too taxing. You don't have to confess anything. Many weeks we ask you to confess favourite books and when you put your decorations up. Not this week. All I need you to put is a time. What time is the Craft Stash live tomorrow morning? We will be looking out on that Craft Stash live, of course, the brand new collection. I'm going to take you through this very quickly because I know lots of you have already seen it, but we will have a little flash through it. But yeah, let us know what time it is and we will pick a lucky winner. Fran, I've had a delivery today for a Yodel. That's taken Yodel a month to deliver. Oh my goodness. Other items ordered after this have arrived. Oh, well, I hope that's not from us. Oh, not all of them. We don't use Yodel, do we, in any sense? So hopefully that's not an us one, Fran. But it doesn't matter if it's us or not. It's still frustrating, isn't it? Still awful when we have to wait for things. But sometimes we do, and it is frustrating. Alison, one of my items in my Happy Mail was a humongous roll of, I only got to a humongous roll, and it went, a foam tape packed beautifully. I hasten to add, well, that's lovely to hear. Thank you very much. I'll let the team know that you've said that. What else have we got going on in here? Oh, you're all answering. Sorry, that's why I'm losing your comments now. You're all answering. So lovely. So let's take you through the new collection for anyone who hasn't seen it. If you have seen it, I'll be quick, I promise, because it's not going to go on forever. Then I'm going to share with you our lovely design team samples, or some of them, not all of them, but we're going to give you a little bit of a flash of some design team samples. And then I promise we'll make something so we can give it away to somebody who's answered that question. If you don't know what time tomorrow is, then look in the comments because loads of people have told you, and let us know because then it'll get you into enter. And just a little, not disclaimer, but a little bit to tell you, this is of course our 7 p.m. Thursday night live competition. We often find people comment after that time, in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, just to check if you're watching this after sort of between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Thursday, the competition will be closed. But it's always lovely to see your answers anyway. So let's have a little look through this collection, shall we? Just very quickly, I promise. So this week we are launching our brand new Ripple Blooms collection. There is a stencil that goes with this. We'll be using this in just a moment. There are 2 parts to it. There is, of course, a floral part, which comes with all of the cutouts of the flowers that you can see in the bag. And then there is your lacy part to your section, or stencil, sorry. And the 2 layer together beautifully so that you can do different colouring techniques between them. The stencils also match up perfectly with the die set so that you can bring this in and you can layer over the top of the die cut once you've cut it, and then you can colour it perfectly. So a really little handy tool there. We'll be doing that in one of the demos, I promise. So I'll get to show you that in person. Your die set has 11 dies in it, including your big focal floral filigree panel, and then it's got 4 corners that also come as separate cuttings and cutouts, giving you loads of opportunity to play around with those. Then we have got for you the lattice oval. Now your lattice oval has got its main lattice panel, 4 corners, 4 separate edges, and a separate postage edge to go with it, making the most beautiful focal point. We then have, and I've lost them, Peter. Oh, I don't know, all this pre-prep, and here it goes terribly wrong.
What have you lost?
I need the packet for the flower and the leaf. Oh no, I don't. They're here. I have got them. Open my eyes. I told you it's been one of them days. Honestly, you're in for a very bumpy ride this evening. Then we've got our entwined leaves and we've got our ripple blooms. So these are the flowers that match up perfectly to go over the ripple blooms floral panel so that you've got all of the different sizes to layer up on top of it. We'll do that in a demo. Then you've got these beautiful leaves that sort of go with it and give you the foliage elements that can work with any flowers, but of course work really nicely with these ones. And then from there, oh, well, let's show you these. Then from there, we have got 5 brand new sentiment editions. You have got Get Well Soon, Happy Valentine's Day, Best Wishes, Happy Retirement, and Birthday Wishes. And these are new additions to the collection. So we already had 5 out originally with 5 different outside panels. We now have 5 new ones, giving you 10 to interchange between. But these, of course, are the 5 which have just come out. And then to sort of round off our collection, we have got 5 brand new nested ovals. And these all fall into our sort of mats and layers collection. And they've got separate pierced and stitched edges that come in with 2 of the sets. So you've got pierced come in with a scalloped and stitch which come in with the decal. And then you've got the postage, the fluted and the plain. And then those edges I mentioned, those pierced and stitch lines, can be interchanged throughout all of the different ones so that you can create unique effects throughout them. So they're all brand new. So all of this lot has just been released officially to all stockists as of 10 AM this morning. Now, of course, some of our stockists might not have yet received their goodies or might not yet have had time. So be sort of patient with them, but I'm sure they're going to be announcing that they've got them very soon. And if they haven't got them or they haven't yet chose to order them, then I'm sure they won't mind me saying this. Let them know that this is a collection you would like them to be stocking so they can order it in for you. We try to work really closely with our stockists so that if they wish to place small orders, they can do, so that if there is a collection they haven't chose to stock, but there's something you would like, they can order it. And we also allow them to order in singles so that they don't have to buy loads of items to try and get bits in. You know us, we are all about working with our stockists the best we can and trying to be a team, because to me that's what it is. We need to be a team. Stockist here, have been for many years, or retailer. It's a tricky world nowadays, so if we can help work with our retailers or our stockists, we will do. So we try to. So then, with that in mind, if we have any of our stockists with us this evening, please pop a link in the comments to your website, or if you've got a dedicated page for us, then of course that would be lovely to have that link as well, so that we can see exactly all of the items you're stocking. But I have seen many people announce today that this has arrived with them, and I'm going to try and remember a few of them because I've got a terrible memory. Of course, our very own Craft Mania have them for you. Who else did I see come up today that had announced them? Oh, this is tricky because I don't want to tell anyone anything that I shouldn't tell them. So have a look around, Pete. You can do our job for us. Check on your Facebook, see who's announced it. I'm thinking of 4 names, but I can only remember 2 of them who have announced they've got it. Into Craft have got it. They've announced that they've got it already.
There's Craft Bliss, isn't there, Julie?
Craft Bliss. I don't know if they've announced that it's there yet, have they? See, this is the tricky bit. Well, I'm sure they won't mind us telling you that Craft Bliss have it on order. You've been picking the orders. Who else have you picked and packed orders for?
Oh, you're probably putting me on the spot.
I am, yeah.
Aren't you?
Yeah, we'll help them out. If they're not with us, it would be nice to give them a yell anyway. So that collection is now available, and I promise I'm going to do something more inspiring than just waffle. Let's show you some samples. So I always feel like we have an amazing design team, genuinely. We've got Sharon, Wendy, Lynn, and Ian, and they're just incredible. The stuff they make is amazing. But of course, in TV time or highlight craft time, and in general, in lives and craft slash time and all of them, I'm only going to get to share with you a certain amount of samples. So I thought it would be nice if we started off tonight by just having a flick for a few of these that you might not have seen, just to give you a bit more inspiration. Ones that I feel I haven't got much chance to show you. So this is one done by Ian that I really liked, actually. He's taken one of the postage stamp ovals and he's folded that in half to make a little stand. And then on it, he's added one of the plain ovals. Then he's gone to the postage and the plain. He's added the bloom onto the top here, and he's added some gilding wax or polish over the top of that. He's brought in a couple of the little flourishy bits and added a Happy Valentine's Day on it. And I thought that was really lovely. And the nice bit is with the postage stamp somewhere, I'm not going to get this to do this now, am I? I got it to do it earlier. Earlier when I weren't trying to do this live, I did it first time. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to get it. I don't think this desk is having, but it does stand. Trust me, it stands. And it makes a really cool card when it does, because of course it's not, I'm going to give up, but it's not the site you would expect to see stand, but it does stand beautifully. all about counterweighting. So then let's move on to our next one that I don't have to try and balance. Another one here done by our lovely Ian. Ian's got such an eye for colour and such a decadent style about him and the way he works. So he's used our lovely lattice die set with the corners. He's added on the happy retirement. He's used the flowers. He's brought in some flourishes. I thought that was really, really pretty. I think he's used our metallic inks here over the flowers. I feel because they've got a bit of a golden shimmer to them, which is very nice, but a really lovely one again from Ian. And I love this when this isn't kind of what this is about, but you start looking at, let's get these out of the way and see if we can do a bit more of it. You start looking at what one DT member has created with a collection, and you can really start to see how versatile a collection is. Another one here where he's done some stenciling, laid some flowers on the top of it. But you look at them three, how completely different are they already? Love this. Then we'll show you this one. Again, I'm just picking Ian's at the second to try and show you what I mean about one person's creative. Corners from the stencil, flowers, word input in the middle. Really cool. Who else have we got here, or what else have we got here? Another one from Ian, bringing in those ovals, adding some flowers on. See, very different cards, 5 completely different styles, all just a starting point of an idea for you that you could take off into any different style you wanted or any different colour scheme you wanted to. So I've shown you a few of Ian's. Let's show you what else we can find in the pile, shall we? If there's any questions, Pete, just yell.
One question about your lattice oval, if it fits onto an A5 card?
It does fit onto an A5. All of the ovals fit onto an A5, but you will find, and I'll show you this in this format. So I'm going to use a piece of A4, and of course you would normally score that and fold it properly, but we'll show you that in this form. And the first oval I've got here isn't actually one from this collection, but they're the same scope. This is an elegant butterfly oval, something along them lines, which come out with the tile collection, but they're all pretty much in the same proportion, so it'll give you the right idea. So it will fit perfectly on an A5 card. If you're looking for a symmetrical finish, then obviously we'd need to trim a bit off of the bottom here, but actually what I tend to look at and think of is that's given me the perfect spacing for my word. Whether I'm going to put that on my sentiment, not a word, word's the wrong expression, but if I'm going to put it into a little bubble, then I've again got the perfect amount of space down there to add a little sentiment. And if I was to be going this way, I wouldn't be doing it necessarily with this one, but I would wrap a ribbon and add a bow going down that side. So they're not A5 in proportion, because if we went A5 properly, we would end up with a very elongated oval, and it would be a bit odd, in my opinion. So we've kind of squished it down slightly so that we've got a nice proportionate oval. It actually has a name if I think of it, but I'm going to struggle with that. But it does give you a nice proportion to it. Now, of course, you can just centralise that. And again, and I might be sort of talking of what I would do here a little bit more than what everyone else would do. But if I had this sort of space going on, I would pop the oval in the middle there, and I would put 3 little gems or pearls in a line up here to fill the top gap, and I would put 3 in a line down the bottom to balance out that extra gap. Or you could again add a row of pearls across the top and the bottom. So hopefully that answers your question. But yes, it certainly fits on an A5, but it's just about giving you a bit of freedom on where you want to place it. Was there another question, Pete?
Kim just asked about the gemstones paste. Is it best to just let it dry naturally, or use a heat gun?
You can heat it up if you want to. With all texture paste and guns, it does depend what heat gun you're using. Depends on how much heat and pressure you're going to put out onto it. A lot of guns have 2 different settings, don't they, for a low power and a high power. So you might want to start off more with a low power. But if it starts to bubble, then stop. It shouldn't do anything more than bubble, in fairness. I have done it. It has been absolutely fine. I didn't get any bubbling. Some people like bubbling texture paste because then when it dries with a slightly different texture. I've never actually got ours to bubble, so I haven't tried that too much. But yes, you can certainly speed it up if you want to. Being honest, I do genuinely find it the quickest drying texture paste I've used. So I tend to find that it's drying about 15-20 minutes-ish. Depends on your stencil, depends on how thick you're going to put it on, depends on the size of the sections on the stencil, so it does all vary. But I do tend to leave mine to dry naturally, being honest. But you can heat it if you want to. So let's have a little look if we can find some more samples. So this one here is by our lovely Wendy. I have to check the names, bless them. They're so good to me. They write the names on the back so I don't forget. This one's Wendy's. I love this because Wendy took the oval of the lattice and cut it down to make this really cool sort of swish panel, and then built it up with some flowers and bits. Thought that was very, very cool. I believe this one is one of Wendy's. Again, this, she hid it for a reason, or not a reason, but she's continued to build up her pattern. But what I really like with this, we're going to try and break into it a little bit, is how Wendy's cut a diamond out of the middle of her oval. And I thought that was really, really cool because it took the oval and gave it a completely different shape and style to it. She's added the scalloped edge with it, then obviously just followed the pattern of the lattice to trim that out. With the flowers, she's added some of the gemstones texture paste on them. And she's, of course, added lots of the entwined leaves coming out in all different places. So it really does look like it's growing up the lattice. Thought that was very, very cool. Wendy's also been making some little shaped cards, again using the ovals. Oh, first time. That's just typical, isn't it? But yeah, again, so standing perfectly, this is probably a good example to show you because I didn't seem to do it with the other one. I don't know why. But yeah, so perfect with the little sort of, not cog, but postage style edge to it. It stands perfectly, which is really cool, and gives you a nice little card blank that you could build up and do more with. Let's have a little look for another one that we can share with you from Wendy. Oh, I know what I want to share with you. You might have seen this because I know I got to show you this on highlight, but if you didn't see the highlight shown, you might not have seen this. I don't know if we had this here last week to show you, we might have, but this is a little album that Wendy's put together, going through with all of the different dies. You've got lattice bits, you've got the different ovals, you've got the twiddles, going all the way through, and then she's used the pinstripe stamp on the back here and the corners, of course, to sort of frame where you could write little messages, or if you was going to do it as a little retirement book for somebody, maybe you're going to, it's a workplace kind of thing, and you've got 30 people in the office who all need to sign it. What a lovely way to make a little book. Thought that was very, very, very cool. Let's have a little look see if we can find another one from Wendy. I think I show you 4 of Ian's. Let's see if we can find 4th of Wendy's. So with Wendy, this is another cool one. So Wendy's used the ovals to cut an aperture and then made this hanging suspended panel that sits within the middle, gives it a bit of a twist and a bit of life. Backed it on the reverse with more of our cardstock, added the little sentiment in the middle, put the corners into the edges. I thought that was pretty impressive. So again, 4 very different sort of projects, 5 actually, isn't it? Sorry, that I've shown you from Wendy. So should we do a demo, and then we'll show you, before we go, some from Lynn and some from Sharon as well, because it would be nice to make sure that all the DT give you a little bit more inspiration this evening. Now let's have a little look. I feel that I've missed a couple of bits. Ian's flowers are lovely, aren't they, Fran? He makes beautiful flowers. He's also what we call our shaker king, because he always makes shaker cards, and they're very, very cool. Lynn always makes boxes, some side of me here, our lovely pink box behind me. If I remember, I'll get that down and show it to you again. I know I showed you it last week. It's lovely. Chrissy, thank you, Jamie. I made a couple of 8x8 cards for a special friend. Cost me £6.85. That's a lot to post, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Do you know that I always, and trust me, we spend a fortune on post as a company, as a brand, both sides of our sort of fence. Our postage bills are literally in the thousands. They're ridiculous. But do you know what? I never really begrudge it. When I think of the magic, and I always think, and this is probably just me, and I know we all moan about postage, and I do too, trust me, but when I think of the magic that I've taken my little parcel and I've handed it over, and then in like, and this varies obviously, depending on places and time, but in a couple of days, it's winged its way from my little post office or my little post box all the way across the country or the world to another little place, and that little post lady, postman's walked it down that drive and put it in. To me, I know it sounds silly, but that blows my little mind. And then when you see them on, and Pete's looking at me now like I've completely lost the plot, but when you see all the sorting machines doing all the magic,
they forget.
I think we forget
that goes into getting it,
and I think you forget that it left place A and ended up in place B, and that's, and I suppose driving up and down the country quite a bit for work, you realise just how big the country is, and then you think of how your parcel left here and ended up there. To me, as I say, yeah, I do get it. It's a lot, but it does impress me in some ways as well. I don't know, maybe it's just me, sorry. Gillian, lovely talking to my mum yesterday. Oh, that's very nice of you. Yeah, my mum's lovely. She's probably watching this. She usually watches these. But she's lovely, and I'm sure she would have enjoyed chatting with you too. So, okay, let's do something. Let's play around and do something, shall we? So, I see somebody said postage is disgusting. It is. I do get it, Chrissy. It is. It is. But then, I won't even start on wages because that isn't fair. You're not here to listen to me sort of yabba. But yeah, we do pay the world a lot of money now, and our post people need to be paid too. And yeah. Okay, anyway, let's do some cutting, shall we? So this is the card we're going to play with to begin with because I thought this was pretty, and it's one that I haven't yet shared with you. So we're going to bring in some dies to do the base cutting of this because it's kind of nice to show you how everything fits together and how it all plays together and why we leave off the edges, because it's always nice to show you the benefits of giving you dies without edges to them, because of so often we kind of don't explain why we design something in a way, and it's kind of nice to share with you the bonuses of why we do that. So here is our lovely oval, and as I mentioned, separate edges. So we've got the scalloped edge, we've got the plain edge, and then we've got the panel without any edges attached to it. And this is the beauty. It means we can bring that in and we can place it down inside one of our shapes. So tonight we're going to start off by using one of our rectangles. So we'll bring in the boards to work with, and we'll bring in one of our rectangular dies. So this, of course, is our matte and layering collection, or mats and layers collection. And we'll bring in, let's go for a decal edge this time. So on the finished example, we have got a postage edge to it, but this time we'll go with a decal. We'll bring in our lovely oval and we'll place that down in the middle. And then corner-wise, we could go for either the corners that come with our lovely oval, or we could go with the corners which come with the lattice. So for this one, we'll add in the lattice corners. Now, because we've got them separate stitch or pierce lines, we could potentially add in one of them as well. So should we do that too? So we'll bring in these four and we'll see if we've got enough room left to add in one of the stitch lines. Now this is what I love about our collections where we've gone for ovals that correspond with our rectangles, because this just works, doesn't it? You know, that oval really fills out the middle of this, but without being too heavy or too large or too close to any of the sides. So we'll place that together. Now I'm going to lift this up so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just leaving a small gap between the corner and the stitch line. And I've found if I put them too close in the machine, sometimes they can move and it can add it's not a cut line, it's more of a tear, but it's like it's pinching and I'm ending up with a little bit of a gap. So I'm going to leave, if I leave a gap now, if it does move slightly as the pressure and the machine rolls over it, it won't pinch anything. It will just carry on over and give me the perfect finish that I need. So let's go for a colour. Let's go for this lovely pink. So we're going to use our rose petal pink. And we'll add that on the top and we'll send this through the machine. So I'm using my Pro Cut, but of course you could use any size machine that you wanted as long as they're going to fit through it. And to be honest, I will double check, but I don't think what I've sent through at this stage is bigger than an A5. So you wouldn't have a problem with that. Am I missing any comments or questions, Peter?
I'm just studying now.
I can see something about an egg. Are we talking Easter? Always up for a Cadbury's cream egg.
You already had two.
I have had two.
Time.
I have had two already.
Nabbing one from the Candy World stocks.
So yeah, if you don't know
grin
this,
on his face, and I was like, he's up to something.
If you don't know this, one of and I think I told you on a recent live, but if you're new to the lives, you might not know this. Pete owns 3 different candy shops, and he sells 4. Sorry, 4. I always forget one.
Me.
Sorry. 4 different candy shops, and he sells candy from around the world. And one of the bonuses with this is that he gets the cream eggs in really early, like this side of Christmas, which means I get to start eating the cream eggs this side of Christmas, which is potentially quite naughty, but I do love a Cadbury's cream egg. And this year he's got the white ones in already. I don't know if you've ever had a white Cadbury's cream egg. Oh, they are divine. They're absolutely gorgeous, but you are right, I have already had 2 of them this year. And as you can tell, Pete is keeping tracks, so I expect the bill to arrive any day. So I'm just taking out the bits of this without you having to watch me doing too much cleaning. So I've just taken a roller over the top of it to remove the main bits, and then we can start taking the panel away so that you can reveal it. It has got release holes on it, so feel free to use them. But for speed, I'm just going to give it a bit of a pull. You learn what dies you can do that with, don't you? You quickly see if you damage it by pulling away at it, and then we stop, don't we? But with this one, because it's all kind of, although it's very detailed and entwined, it's not a problem to sort of give it a bit of a pull, and you should find that everything will come away without any sort of twiddles being damaged or anything. Now in the corners, all of this lattice is of course cut for us, but you don't want to sit and watch me poke out millions of those, even with a roller. So that shows you how beautiful that is when we team that together with our different edges and our different corners and our different pieces. So we'll get rid of all of these bits, take those out of the way for the second. We'll even be good and try and aim for the bin. That would then give us, what are you chuckling at?
Did you aim for the bin?
I did aim for the bin. I'm not saying I hit the bin, but I aimed for the bin. So we've got our panel now complete, so that we've got all of our fretwork completed and all of our area done. So let's bring in some colour. Now this is the joy of the stencils. We're going to bring our stencil in and we're going to lay that directly over the top of the die cut. Now of course you can tape this down. I'm not going to, just because I like to live on the edge, but you certainly can do if you want to be sure you're not going to move anything. And we're going to bring in some shaded lilac distress oxide. And we're going to pick this up on a blending brush and we're going to hold this down. Now don't forget, if you want to win this card, along with any others that we managed to do this evening in between our waffling, then let us know in the comments what time my Craft Stash live is tomorrow. And Pete will pick one lucky winner for us before we say goodnight, so that we can get these popped in the post and sent out to you. Pippa won last week. Who else has won, Pete? We've had Pippa win recently, haven't we?
Judy.
Judy, oh yes, they're winging their way to Colorado.
I think it was Alison and
Alison, Sheila, yeah.
But did Chrissy win one time? There was a Chrissy.
Maybe,
possibly.
was there a Chrissy?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. You know I haven't got
These weeks blend into, well,
they do blend.
time flies, isn't it?
So all I'm doing is taking my colour and I'm just adding these through the different flowers. Now we don't need to do all of these. I'm just getting a bit carried away really, but we'll blend them through and we'll do, let's finish this last one over this side and we'll leave these base ones. We'll come back to those, but it'll be nice that you can see sort of half of it done. So once we've done that level, we can leave it there. We can absolutely leave it there, and I'll lift this up so you can see it slightly better, but we can leave it there with just one colour. But actually what I want to do is intensify that slightly. So we're going to leave our stencil in place or line it back up, and we're going to go in for another shade of oxide. This time we're going to use Seedless Preserves, and we're going to use a finger dauber to do these. These are our 6-2 ones that we do actually at Jamie Rodgers Crafts. We have these available. These are one of the lines from Sticks 2 that we actually carry as a brand. So we're going to add in some of this down into the middles of our flowers. Now, of course, when this goes on, it's kind of heavy because we've just sort of placed it down into the centres, and we want to dilute that a little bit. We want to blend that in so it isn't too prominent, because that's a bit harsh. It's not the end of the world, but it's a bit harsh on our panel. So we're going to line this back up. We're going to keep that in place, and we're going to go back into our shaded lilac. And because of oxides stay wet quite a while, we'll be able to blend that so that we've got a more intense middle and a softer shading going out from that central part, which is really nice. And again, we couldn't do this, or I'm sure you could, but it would be a faff to try and do it without the stencil. And the stencil just means that we can go in and really colour that area precisely and easily without too much hard work. Life's too short to make anything more difficult than it needs to be. So we'll blend that down. And we'll do this last one, just so you can see all of those coming together. So there you go. Now what I love about this stencil, and this is what I mean about you can potentially do this, but it would be a faff. You look at the middle of that twiddle, that stencil cuts off halfway. So the bottom of the twiddle is still left white, and that's the bit I really want to sort of, I want it to look like it's meant to be. I don't want the petal to end up too chunky because I've gone to the other side of the twiddle, and I don't want it to look like I forgot there's a twiddle there, or the twiddle somehow lost in the middle of the petal. So just having that little mill of the white come round and that rounding off of the petal is the bit that the stencil helps us to create, and to me is a bit of a game changer versus trying to bring in colour in other ways. So to me, the stencils are a grand help, but you'll have to let me know what you think. Have you got this? Have you tried this already today? If it's already arrived, did you find the stencils beneficial? Because I think they are. Okay, so let's go on to our card blank, shall we? So card blank size today, for this one, we're going to work with a card blank which is 6¼ inches by 8¼ inches, just in case anyone would like to recreate this to the same sizes. The middle of the flowers, Fran, that one was done with, I've forgotten now myself, seedless preserves. And the outside, the lighter part of the flowers, that was done with shaded lilac. Now, of course, you could do these in any shades you want. And actually, I'd really urge you to experiment. You know, and I say this because I'm guilty of not doing that. These are my two favourites at the moment, and I just keep going back to these time after time. And then did anyone see the card that Ian uploaded today? Ian shared a card on the new group created with Jamie Rodgers Crafts. And on that card, he had used 22 different products from the Jamie Rodgers Crafts collection. And to me, that was really, really lovely, and a really cool way to show you how to be brave, how to think outside the box, how to be daring. And I say this from my perspective because I do stick to, that isn't stuck down. That's where we're going wrong here. I thought, oh, I'd already stuck that on. It isn't. It's just a little bit of the tape come off. But yeah, it's nice to see people being braver with colour than I am. And Lynn's very good at that as well. Lynn often goes off and sort of does these rainbow creations. And this is why we love having a design team and such a talented design team, because they really do show you and me different colourways, different options, different styles. So what I would ever imagine I'll be brave enough to do. So a bit of 1mm foam tape on the back of that just to lift that up. And then because we're going to send this out to one of our winners, I will tie a bow. Now, I do often warn you that I don't do this live for very good reasons. I did one of these the other day on a card in my room, and it took me 5 attempts. So just talk amongst yourselves for the next hour while I try and get a bow correct. But hopefully it won't be that bad. We'll give it a while. Are there any questions, Pete?
Sheila would like to know if you'll be adding more metallic inks soon.
We will be adding more metallic inks, absolutely. I'm trying to think of what I'm allowed to tell you before Peter gets angry. Paul's face is at me. He does. You don't see it. You lot are all quite safe. I get a little glance from the side of me. Like,
you get the eyes.
So, yeah, I have to be careful. But yes, there are more metallic inks coming. There will be another 5,
maybe.
Oh, I was more looking to see if I was allowed to admit there's another 5, but there will be another 5 coming, but that won't be now obviously until next year.
They may have some friends with them.
No, oh, I'm going to give you the look. What do you mean they may have some friends with them?
No,
oh, Peter, he's worse than I am.
Anyway, Alison's glad the glue's made an appearance.
Honestly, this is what I'm putting up with.
On.
There's me like scared, and him over there. They might have some friends. I don't know about this, but yeah, they might have some friends. So yeah, glue. Alison, a lovely glue lady's with us, is she? Yes. So Alison is our chief ambassador of glue.
We need to get her a badge or something.
We do need to get her a little badge, don't we? Yeah, she loves our glue, which is always lovely to see and lovely to have the support of it. So thank you for that, Alison. So there is our completed card. Card number 1 that somebody's going to win. So if you haven't already, let us know what time is the Craft Stash Facebook Live tomorrow morning, and Pete will pick one lucky winner for us to send out whatever we make this evening. So we've done one. Shall we have a look at a couple more samples by the DT? Because I love getting to share them with you. I don't feel that we get to share enough of them bits with you. I'm going to put this in the middle of your card as well, whoever wins it, because if you haven't got the dies, then it will give you a nice panel that you can play with and create something with. And it's cut, so we'll send that out with it as well, if I remember. There's me. I say these things, and then tomorrow morning I would have forgot. The royal we. The royal we will send that out to you. Fran asks, what's the pink oval on the shelf? Let's have a little look. That will be this, which is all, actually, thank you, Fran, because I said I wanted a reminder to share this with you, because when they're behind me, I do forget. And this is a good time because we'll show you some samples by Lynn. So this is our lovely box created by Lynn using this brand new collection. And on the top here, you can see the lattice that she's, I'm just going to try and get so you can see a bit more of it, but there is the lattice, and she's nested that inside one of the larger postage stamp edge ovals so that we've got more of a gap to it. This one does come with the postage edge, if I remember rightly, but it's the wider one to give you more body for the lid. Then she's used the flowers on the top. She's added in the twiddles, our lovely elegant, what are they? Enchanted leaves? Entwined. Why didn't we call them twiddles? I could have dealt with twiddles. To me, they're twiddles. We need to remember that next time we name them. But yeah, our twiddly bits run all the way around the side as well, which is really, really cute. And then she's added some flowers on there. And I also really like the way Lynn's done the border for the bottom and the top of the box. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that she has used the squares or the rectangles, actually. You could use either, but she's going to have taken, let's show you with this one, for instance. She's taken the wider bit of it, cut that, and then cut that as a strip on a guillotine so that she could then put that running around the bottom and the top of the box. And I thought that was a really good idea and a nice way to match in with the top of the box. And this is what we love about our sort of nested dies is different ways in which we can use them, different ways we can take them off. So yeah, that is our lovely box by Lynn. So shall we show you a couple more from Lynn? Hopefully that'll give you a bit of idea. Is your pink elite card? It's in my basket as I watch you. Is this our pink card? I reckon is the question, Joanna. And yes, it is. This is our rose petal pink. I love this. I think this is such a gorgeous colour. I really, really do. Something I really enjoy. I see a question about classes on boxes. I have a feeling, Fran, not this one, because this is brand new, but I have a feeling if you look on the group, I don't know, has Lynn shared any of her box instructions on the group yet? If she hasn't, I'll try and see if we can or she can. And I know that Lynn's done a couple of blogs with boxes, I believe. So there is quite a lot of box inspiration out there already. So I'll see if we can put some bits up on the Created with Jamie Rodgers crafts group. That'd be a nice place for me to remember to post them in the next few days, if that helps, because I'm with you. Boxes can be a challenge, can't they? But actually, incredible when done, and especially like Lynn, done right. Oh, I was going to save that actually. I was putting it away. We'll leave the box there for a minute. Let's see if we can find a couple of other bits done by Lynn. This one's lovely. So this, of course, is inspiration for this collection because she's used our brand new ovals. But actually, Lynn wanted to share with you how an oval is for much more than a floral card. It can be for a Christmas card too, although it is a floral Christmas card, but more seasons. So Lynn's taken her ovals and built them up on her stepper card to create this really cool effect, which I thought was really, really nice, actually. And I also like the way she's used the snowflake stamp in the background. This is our lovely snowflake background stamp, and tied that in with the colours that have been used over the poinsettia and the foliage. And very Frozen-esque, which I thought was really nice and completely different, isn't it? I know we're just taking inspiration here with the ovals, but how cool to see such different effects. And then another one here done by Lynn, showing you a completely different style. And this is nice, Joanna. If you haven't already sort of thought of what colours you're going to use with your pink card, this is the Decadent Ivory, but here she's brought in the Potion Purple, which I think is really nice. That looks so gorgeous, doesn't it, having that? It's Potion Purple, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Potion Purple in the background with the pink, and I thought that was really, really nice. And nice to see little dinky cards as well. This one's tiny. It's 4 1/4 by 4 3/4 approximately, which is really nice because sometimes we don't want to make massive cards, do we? And then this one I've got to share with you. This one's done by Lynn as well. How cool is this for a Valentine's card? I really love this. I thought this was so beautiful. And I really like the way that she's taken the corners and cut them into the rectangle at the closest point they could be, size width-wise. So to fit the middle, she's taken the lattice and cut it down with her other oval dies or with the other oval dies. And that looks so intentional, doesn't it? And we talk about this all the time. I say to you, we bring you bigger dies because if you want to use them smaller, you can trim them down. But we don't always, or I don't always show you that so much. But actually, you look at both of these cards, seeing how Lynn's taken that lattice, which is quite a big lattice, and trimmed it down to make the smaller cards really, really nice. I also like the way she shaped the flower. How cool is that little flower? Gorgeous, isn't it? And then, of course, we've got the Happy Valentine's Day on there. So that's 4 from Lynn. Can we find a 5th quickly to share with you? Oh, this is gorgeous. Look at this. This is our MDF tag. Again, what did I say about linen colour? So brave, or to me, brave. I love all these sort of oranges and yellows mixed together. Really, really beautiful. She's used the Latin script in the background here. She's sprayed the MDF tag, I believe, with our Elite Mister, and then stamped over with our Squirrel Red Quick Dry Pigment ink. Then she's added her flowers on, which are really, really cool. Some twiddles, our oval, our sentiment, and then on the back, this is a little pocket for you to give a little gift in, which I thought was really nice. I know when Lynn photographed this, she put a £20 note in it. That was sadly missing by the time it got to me, but it is a lovely little pocket that you can add little gifts and bits into, gift vouchers, presents, bits like that, which I thought was a really nice idea. And then Sent with Love added onto the arrow. So again, our arrow from our Valentine's Day sentiment, but stamped on with our lace stamps. So yeah, there's 5 from Lynn. Shall we do another demo? And then we'll show you 5 from Sharon.
A couple of people said they can't hear you that easily. I don't know. Can you hear my microphone better than Jamie's? Because we could swap microphones.
Well, let's swap and
maybe.
try. Come on, throw us yours.
He's far more important than I am.
It's not that I'm more important. I just don't stop waffling, do I? So let's see if we can swap over. Let us know if that's any better for you all, guys. And if it isn't, we'll play with some settings. But hopefully that'll help. It's always really hard when you do one of these to know what's working and what isn't, because obviously we're just in a little room with just screens around us. So yeah, if you, any time you hear any problems or can't hear, let us know. We'll always try something to see if we can get it to work better. But let us know if that's working better for you, if you can for us, while I dig into the next kit. Shall we play with a lattice? We haven't done that yet, have we? Shown you lots of lattice inspiration, but let's have a little dig. So while you're all with us, and I can see we've got quite a lot of you with us this evening, if you've dug in and purchased something from the brand new release that launched today, let us know in the comments what you've been purchasing. What bit has been your favourite? Have you come in for everything? Have you gone for the lattice? Have you gone for the twiddly bits? Have you gone for the flowers? What bit is it that's really caught your eye? Or are you like me and want everything? So yeah, let me know. Chrissy, can you hear us better now, Chrissy? Or is it still on? Pushed a button now. Could have cut you off. We're still on? We're still on. I think we're good. Let us know. Let us know what's working, what isn't. We can push a button on that, see if that works. It's always tricky with technology, isn't it? You never really know what one's going to be the bit that helps. Oh, wait there. I have a feeling that might do it. Let us know if that's better for you. I found a little setting on our box. We've been having ever so much fun here. Honestly, you don't get to see the half of what goes on. It's probably best you don't. So in the last couple of weeks, it is though, isn't it? Honestly, the things that go on in here in a day. Yeah. What did we do the other day that didn't go terribly wrong, but we was late because we couldn't get it to work? Oh, we did a live, didn't we? We did a live on a different page. And believe it or not, so it's all very techie and very boring, but we have a little box that we connect all of the cameras to, and then that connects to the internet, and that sends it all out. But the box is set up to go to certain pages, and it wouldn't work on the page that we'd set it up to go to, the new page, the page we hadn't done one on before. So we had tech people here at last minute trying to set it all up, and they had to reset the box. And I think in resetting the box, they've turned down the volume because the volume wasn't up as high. So hopefully that's worked. So if you've been listening to me in like mute for the last 40 minutes, I'm very sorry, but I'm glad that you told us, and thank you for letting us fix it. What else did we do? We did an event for, oh, this is a funny one, and I don't think many of you would know about this, and it wasn't funny, it was absolutely awful. So we recently picked up, and should we start? Yeah, I'll start showing you.
Are you going to Canada?
I am going to Canada. I don't think we've told them on a live about this.
I can't remember if we have or not.
I don't think so. I'll tell you quickly. So we've picked up a new international distributor, and we're dealing with a company who are based in Canada, but they supply all across America and Canada. A lovely company called Ecstasy Crafts that in my previous job, I got to work with them quite a bit, and they're really lovely. They're lovely, lovely people and a lovely team. And the second I'd left Creative Expressions, they reached out and said, wherever you go, we want to know and we want to be part of your journey. So the second we were up and running, we said to them, you know, this is what we do, and what, you know, would you like to be our international distributor for America and Canada? They said, yeah, of course I can. Yeah, of course I can. And then from that moment on, just everything that could kind of went wrong, didn't it? None of our journey with this brand, this distributor has really run smoothly, and it's been awful. And we finally got everything together, and we said, well, we'll do a live for your stockists in America and Canada. So it's a big event, and one that I really, you know, every now and again you have these things that you really want to go right, especially because the path to it had been a little bit turbulent. And we set this up, and they told us this time, 6 p.m. it was in the UK, 6 p.m. UK time, click this link, 6 p.m, on whatever date it was, I can't remember now. We planned, we'd done tests, we'd done all our links. That day Pete come home and I'd got something wrong. I hadn't got something from the warehouse. So I can't remember what it was. Sent Pete to the warehouse. Said to him, don't worry, we've got 40 minutes till we go live. It's 5:20 in the UK. And then I looked at my phone. I just checked my emails, which I do about 7 million times a day, after he'd left and he was gone. And I got an email. We were 40 minutes into this live and we wasn't there. And they were like, Jamie, where are you? Where are you? Very polite, very nice, but where are you? So I sort of rushed and ran through the house trying to get it sorted, changing clothes, and things were flying everywhere. And we'd got to get lives and things up and running and turn everything on. And because it was set, but it weren't live. And sort of went live and had this 2-hour live it's always awful when something and it's possibly just me, but when something goes wrong at the beginning you never really catch yourself. So sort of 2 hours of me waffling at speed, not really knowing what was going on and what day of the week it was. And what it turned out to be, and you might already know this and you might be there going, I know where this story is going. Canada do put their clocks forward or back, whatever we did, the same as we do, but they do it a week after we do it. And our meeting, our live, fell in the middle of the week. It was on the Wednesday, I think it was. So we'd done our clocks in whatever direction they were going and they hadn't, so I was an hour out. And it was awful. And it was just one of them things, one of them times in life where, yeah, you kind of think, well, I wish I'd have Googled that bit. I Googled that they did change their clocks because I wasn't too sure about that, but I never Googled when do they change their clocks. So yeah, we've had a lot of nightmares, a lot of tricky bits that go wrong behind the scenes, but I suppose that's life, isn't it, and part of what goes on. But especially tech wise, there's always something going on. So yeah, it's just one of them. So anyway, onto the card. You don't want to read all of my sort of stories. So onto our card, we're going to build up these flowers, and I'm just taking a paintbrush, just the end of the paintbrush, and I'm bringing in, this is not quite the largest flower from the set, the one down, and I'm just going to squidge it around the handle to give us sort of a U or a little bit of a shape to the petals. You can forcibly fold them into a V, but then you get a bit more of a pinch point at the bottom. You can, of course, do both of these techniques in both directions. Because of the petals are debossed and you get this really nice veining on each of the petals, I don't really want to detract from that too much. We could come in with a pair of tweezers, if I can find some, and you can do a very similar technique with tweezers, whereby you pinch it around that, and then you will end up with like a little box at the bottom, and that looks quite nice. That's different, and you can do that in both directions as well. And another technique that I really like doing with any flower is crumpling the edges. So just take the tweezers, and I'm trying to over exaggerate it a bit here so you can see what I'm doing, but just take it and twist it against the petal just to give like a little, I'm going to try and do one that hasn't yet been shaped, but it will just give it a sort of waffly decal edge, which is kind of cool. And when you build that up, that looks really nice, and it's kind of crinkled, which looks kind of nice and lovely. So I've done that, and I've gone ahead and I've built my flowers. These ones have got a little bit flat in my pack, so I'll give them a bit of a squidge to bring them into life, and a bit of 3D. Oh, that's a good tip, Fran. Yeah, it was nothing that I ever really thought of. And Jean, yeah, it did turn out all right in the end. You know, they're such a lovely company to work with that they did genuinely understand that it weren't anyone's fault. And it wasn't, it was just life. You know, it wasn't a big issue, it was just life. So our card blank, 6.25 or 6.5 was that, sorry, 6.25 inches by, oh, this one's an odd one. So just over 8.25. So 6.25 by just over 8.25. And we're going to bring in our scalloped rectangle. This is one of our nesting dies, and I haven't used the pierced edge which comes with it. We're just going to go down with the flat. This is from the Decadent Ivory cardstock. And then we're going to bring in our next panel. Now, I'm not going to cut enough one of these because you kind of see this on the last demo, didn't you? But of course, last time we put the panel in the middle, you don't have to. You can, of course, leave that as a solid. So I'll add this on with some foam tape as well and build this up. Now, this scallop is the same size as the one underneath. So we're going to match up our scallops. That's kind of level. That's not too bad. And we're going to place that down. Then into the central part. So we're going to stick with the scallop. And this is what I love about bringing you different shapes with the same edges. So we're going to use the scalloped oval, which is of course going to coordinate with the scalloped edge on the rectangle. And we're going to place that down in the centre. Then we're going to bring in our lattice. Now our lattice again has been cut out with a different edge to it. So the lattice should have the postage stamp edge to it. If I could find it, I'd show you, but I seem to have lost the board with it, so I'm sure you know what I mean by now. But I've added in one of the scallop ones instead. Oh, it's over this side, that's why I can't find it. Thanks, Pete. So on this one, you've got your postage stamp edge to it. Let's put these bits down a second. Cut all my nails today and now I can't lift up any of my dies. And instead we're going to bring in the scallop. So the scallop is the same scallop that comes with the other die set. And that's kind of nice that you get to see that, because if you can interchange the edges between the two sets. Now that flat line is a bit too close to this one, but obviously it's not actually for that. It would be for that panel. And that panel could then work inside your postage stamp edge. So even if you don't go for the nesting sets of dies, you've still got a bit of interchangeability between the two that come with those, if that's something you're looking at. It's just nice to know that you're going to have more options, isn't it? So if you do want to interchange those ones, you can do. So we'll get rid of that for the second. We'll place that off to one side and we'll bring this in. So for our panel, we're going to glue this one down flat. So we're going to bring in an applicator tool and we're going to bring in some of our glue and we're going to place that out onto one of our small blending mats. And then we can go all the way over the back of this die cut without having to try and highlight just small areas, because that can be really tricky, can't it? So my little tip here is, if you keep one of these blending tool foams just for when you're using your glue, you can leave it like this one. It's gone rock hard. It's not a problem. It will still pick up and distribute the glue across our panel. Now, if this is a technique you like to do or you've not seen before, the trick here is hold your die down so that your die cut doesn't move, because you don't want your die cut to move and then go into the bit of the sticky that's gone through the apertures on the die. Where if you keep the die in place, you can cover all of this lot without having to worry that that's going to happen, because we don't want glue in areas that we don't need it. Our glue does dry clear, so it's not the end of the world if it does, especially on white cardstock. You're not going to see it, but it's just nice to know that you're not going to end up with any sort of glimmers or shimmers from any glue that's dried. Although it does dry clear, this does dry with a slight, not matte, well it's not matte, but it's not gloss, but it has got a bit of a finish to it. So it's wise to not get it in areas you don't want it to, although it will dry clear. So we're going to place that down on the top and we're going to let that settle for a second. We're going to put a weight over the top of it. Actually, we'll use one of our plates. And this is something I do all of the time if I'm waiting for something to dry. I put a plate on the top of it because I know that the plates are clean, I know that they're okay, they're ready to work, so they'll be all right to sit on top, and they're quite a nice weight. While we do that, we'll bring in our flourishes or our enchanted leaves. Entwined leaves. I need that wrote down in big letters somewhere, don't I? So our entwined leaves, and we've just got a couple of bits of foam tape, and I've built these up into a bit of a corner. And I often do this for speed if I'm going to be demonstrating, to save you watching me putting them all together. But it's actually kind of nice that you get to see it in this format as well, because normally I tend to stick the flowers on and then post the bits underneath them so that I can get them where I want them. But actually showing you it in this format, it's kind of nice to see how you could build borders, corners, wreaths, all different shapes and formats out of this, and then place your flowers over the top. It just shows how actually, and you know, I've done big floral corners and bits before, but it's kind of nice to show you that out of small elements you too can go ahead and build big elements and save yourself some pennies on buying huge dies as well. So we'll place that down and then we'll bring in our flowers. So we're going to go for one in the middle, one just below it coming off to the side slightly, and then one on the top, and they're going to cover all of them excess bits of foam tape. And then to finish this off, we're going to bring in our birthday wishes, and we're going to place that coming just out the side there, matching up to the edge of the card. And that completes our second card. So who's going to win these ones? Do we know yet? Has somebody entered? Or I know some of you have, but if you haven't yet, that's more the point. Let us know what time the Craft Stash Live is tomorrow morning, and you could be winning yourself this card and this one already. But I reckon we might be able to squidge in a third. What do you reckon, Pete?
Oh, I reckon so.
Yeah, we'll do a third. Yeah. So keep putting in your entries. What time is it tomorrow? I'm live with Craft Stash. If you don't know, scroll back through the comments. You'll soon see somebody who's told us, because they've been very good and I've seen that we've got lots of entries. So, but it'll be nice to have you in the draw too. So let's have a little look. Shall we find some cards here done by lovely Sharon? Let me just flick through a few of these to see what I can find. Oh, this one's a bit of a showstopper. I don't think I showed you this one last week. So I'm going to start off with this one. This is well cool. Have you seen this? Did I show you this? Did you see it on highlight the other day? You might not have. So this, Sharon has created a double fronted card made out of our oval dies. And then when this opens, I'm going to stand it up so you can hopefully see them, the flowers hang in the apertures. I thought this was such a cool idea and a really structural card. Quite a big card, so again you might want to put something on the back of it to give people places to sign and sort of complete the back and you know, add on more detail. But actually, as a construction, as an option, as a style, I thought that was really cool. And I also really like the outside as well. And it shows how you could fold that into sort of different ways and put in more pages if you wanted to, more structure to it. But I thought that was a really cool layout. Let's have a little dig and see which else we can find here. I'm getting to the bottom here of my piles. This is another one by Sharon. So this time Sharon's used scalloped ovals, and she has created a little easel card, and she's done hers in quite a clever way, a way that I never do but should, where instead of actually joining and making her own, she's used the fold of the card. Let's go in and have a little look. So she's taken the fold of the card blank and put the die over the edge instead. So I'll bring in a smaller die to show you, just in case you've not seen this and don't know quite what I mean. But she's used, here we go, so she's used one of the dies and she's put it slightly over the edge so that when that cuts, you end up with this part being cut out, but that join is still in place so that you've still got your card as a card blank. So if you look at this, I can imagine that would have been an 8x8 card, I'm going to guess, but you've still got the original score line in place, but yet you've now created your very own shape card. And then all she's done is the front half of it, she's folded in half to make that stand-up easel, which is a really easy and cool way to do it and save sort of making and scoring loads of different bits. And then added the little stopper on here, and of course used the Larry Marr from the Gemstones texture base to do her stenciling with. Then let's show you another one. So this one's a cool one by Sharon. So again, she's used a Snowfall stencil, this time with a rose quartz texture paste to go for and make a polka dot background, then added on her flowers and her sentiment. I thought that was really lovely. Kind of a different look and different to what you might imagine being used with the Snowfall stencil. And then this one's kind of clean and crisp and cool. And again, a colour I don't tend to use. This is our Meadow Grass Elite card. So another one of our shades, and she's done a lattice, she's done a lovely fluted edge oval, added the corners on, birthday wishes, flower and some twiddles. And I thought that was a really cool one. And again, and I know Rob sort of banged on about this a little bit tonight, but isn't it lovely seeing so many different versions all coming out of sort of one crafter's mind, but actually creating such different styles. No, I think that's really nice because it does show you some fresh ideas and fresh stylings. Oh, and a last one here from Sharon. Another one that she's sort of created using the ovals, bringing in our cosmos flower, our cosmos leaves, and our lattice corners, which is really lovely. This is the marigold yellow. I tend to go more for the marigold than I do this one, because I can't remember the name of this one. What one's this one?
Marigold. That one's Bumblebee. The
Bumblebee.
one's Sunbeam, isn't it?
Bumblebee. Sunbeam? Is it Sunbeam? It's
Sunbeam.
not Sunbeam, is it? No, don't tell me that, Peter. Oh, it is as well. It is. He's right. I didn't question it. Yeah. Why do I always think that's marigold? I don't know where that's come from.
Maybe we should have called it marigold.
Maybe we should have. But our sunbeam yellow, because we've got a matching elite mister, so I should know that, shouldn't I? But yeah, sunbeam yellow. I love that colour. I always say this, I used to have a car that colour. I think that's why I'm that biased about it. But this is always my sort of go-to yellow. So should we do one more then before we leave you in peace for this evening? I can't waffle on forever, can I? So let's finish our last one. You'll soon get bored. You'll all come to this as sort of sleep therapy before long. Come and join Jamie and he can put you to sleep with his endless waffling. So what should we do? Should we play with some texture paste? We haven't played with texture paste tonight, have we? So we will play with our lovely gemstones texture paste and create this card. So let's find a stencil. So we're going to go back to our lovely Rippled and Blossom stencil set. And I need
Blooms.
Rippled Blooms. It's got to that stage.
You're
It's been a
making the
really
names
long
up.
day today. In the middle of today, I filmed a video as well that went on for like an hour. So I've done a lot of endless waffling, a lot of talking, and it does get to the point where the mind sort of shuts down a little bit. So we'll bring in a few colours of our gemstones texture paste. I'm going to go for this kind of palette. These are all kind of similar shades, which is something I actually really like when we're going to do a multicolour background, because there's nothing really going to stand out and look like it shouldn't be there, and we'll get a bit of a mix. So we're going to go in first of all for our amethyst, and we're just going to start bringing some of this out and laying it down. Now, of course, when you're at home, it's always a good idea to anchor your stencil down with some masking tape, especially if you're not going straight onto it with just one colour, because of the more I sort of touch and dab this about, the more chance I'm going to move the stencil. And if I move the stencil, then obviously I'm not going to get the crisp finish that I want to. So we're going to add a few bits of this down. This one is Violet Sapphire. We'll add a few dabs of that down. Now, of course, when you're doing this at home as well, don't just dive into each pot. Do clean off your applicators in between times. But nobody wants to watch me keep cleaning a palette knife. So we're going to be naughty and just go from one to the other. I always think if I make a little bit of a mix here or there, it's not the end of the world. We'll use it and create a new mix. And that's always kind of nice. Fran's been stuck in spreadsheets most of the day. You're sort of crossing chats with our DT today. Our DT have been talking about how they're getting very organised for all of the upcoming releases and all of the new posts, because as many of you know, I'm sure, we opened a new group this week, created with Jamie Rodgers Crafts, and the DT are on a bit of a mission to make sure that that is always filled full of fresh inspiration for you. And because of that, they've got little spreadsheets that they're putting together and working on to make sure that they're bringing you new posts virtually every day of the week, actually, which is brilliant. They're such a dedicated, incredible team, and I never say that enough, to be honest with you all. So yeah, they've been chatting spreadsheets and trying to get their head around who's sharing what, where, when and why, to make sure that you've always got fresh inspiration. And they really, it's as important to them as it is to us to make sure that once we've launched a collection, once we've brought a collection out, that you've got inspiration with it, not only today, but later down the line as well, and that we're on hand to continually give you inspiration where possible, because that, I think, is something we all need, isn't it? You know that with us, it's important to us that you don't just have a collection that comes out today and is forgot tomorrow, that we're here with you, holding your hand and sort of making sure that if you're somebody who needs a bit of help, a bit of inspiration, a bit of a pointer in the right direction, that there will be them pointers. And we're very lucky with our DT because they're all on board with helping with that and making sure that we're with you. So yes, it does sound a bit like I'm buttering toast, doesn't it? It always does with this texture paste, but that's because of the lovely particles of glitter that are in this. And when you see how they mix together and work together, isn't that beautiful? And I will be honest, I always see this on a screen as sort of more blocky in colour, but in reality you get this blend that comes together beautifully. Normally I like to show you, in case you're new and haven't seen our gemstones texture paste, that if you've put it down and you don't like what you've done, you can literally take it away. And I normally do that with a panel that I've created because I like you to see that it doesn't matter if you do move your stencil as you pick it up or if you have a problem with it, you can take it away. But this is so lovely and the blend is so gorgeous, I don't actually want to ruin that. So I'm going to put that to one side and I'll try and make a card with it later in the week to share some more inspiration with this idea with you. But we'll hand that off to Pete to let that dry. If you've got too much left over, put it in a little grip seal bag or a little airtight container and you can come back to it another day. If you're going to be making some matching flowers, then actually, or you're going to use flowers on your project, let's bring in another one of our blending mats. So I've got something neat to put this down onto. There we go, and then we'll come back to that in a minute. If you're going to be making some flowers to go on the top, so we're going to go for some pearl flowers on the top of this one. But if you've made too much, whether you choose to use them on this project or save them for another day, our gemstones texture paste is great for just brushing down the petals. And it doesn't matter if you're using this flower or our cosmos flower, if you take these down the grooves, because of both of those have got embossed grooves on them, the gemstones texture base will just sort of radiate into those grooves, give you a really nice finish. And then if you've still got some left, or you want to make this even more impressive, then a nice little tip is to hold the petal, bring in your paintbrush and add some more onto the tips and build up those tips, and then you'll end up with like a nice glittery finish. And it never looks very nice on just one level, but when you start building your flower together and you've got 4 or 5 levels coming together, trust me, that looks really, really pretty. So much so, I'm going to see if I can get Pete to dig out a card where we've done that so you can see what I mean. And another tip you can do with this is you can dilute this down with some water. Let's see if we've got some mists here. We'll bring in quite a bit of water and we'll bring in another piece of card. And then you can start painting to make your own backgrounds, which can be really cool. So let's see if we can just mix that down a little, breaking down those components or particles. And then we can start taking this on. So if you're working on a full sheet, never, and this is, I know I'm going off completely on tangents here, but I don't like the idea that if I show you how to make a mix, that at any point you're going to think, well, I've made too much and I don't know what to do with it. So airtight container, airtight bag if you haven't got a container, additional flowers, great, or make up your own backing card. And you could be doing this over coloured card if you prefer to sort of tie in, but actually doing something along these lines, whether you then die cut out of it, you emboss it, you add more to it, or bring in another colour or another texture or another product, or add a mister over the top, but actually you can use all of this to make like a fine grade glitter. Now that looks quite patchy on the screen, so I'm going to try and see if we can get it. Can you see that? In the light you can see that all that patchy openness is actually covered in glitter, and you end up with that really cool sparkle going across it, and that will dry really beautifully. Another tip you could do, we're going off now aren't we, we're not really doing anything we're meant to be doing, is bring in some colour. So this is the Night Sky Navy mister, and we'll give that a couple of little squidges and then mix that in with it. Now of course you're going to colour that clear medium, but you're not going to colour that background, so again you could then add that in and start doing some painting. You could dilute that blue down if you want to, but you would then end up with a light blue background with those lilac glitters sitting on top of it once that's dry, and then you've got a more filled in backing if you don't like the look of the gaps. Not that, as I say, I can see gaps here, but on camera you could see a few gaps. So again, feel free to play with those. It's just different ways in which you can use them. We'll hand them bits off to Pete and we will complete this card, because I think I'm well over my time tonight. So let's bring in some bits, shall we? So on our card blank, let's give you some measurements. We are working with a card blank which is 8 and, oh, is that 8 1/4? Yeah, just shy of 8 1/4 by 6 inches approximately. And we're going to bring in some gold mirror card and we're going to add that on top. We've already got a layer of our decadent ivory, so we'll place this one down on the top there. Let's see if we're, yeah, I think we're somewhere near level. And then we're going to go ahead to a panel of our gold pearl card. Now is this called ice gold? Ice gold pearl card. And we're going to place that on top, just so we're matching in with the golden shimmers that are going to come up later with the gems that I've gone ahead and added, and the pearl essence which is going to come through from the butterfly and the flower. Now this of course is a panel which is completely dry, and I've added some gold gems into the centres of those. So let's pull these bits off and we'll have a little look. Jean says try smooching it on paper. You could do, yeah, absolutely. A blending brush could work nicely. One of the latex applicators, you could get a nice effect using those with those. You could also apply it with a brayer. If you wanted to, a brayer might look really cool, especially if you was going over embossed cardstock as well. So yeah, just as I say, you know, we're all guilty of wasting the odd bits here and there, but if we can not waste them, then even better. And if I can give you some ideas on how to use those bits, if you do over mix, it's not a bad trait to know that you can take them and do more with them. So then we've got our flower, and we've got a couple of twiddles on this, so we're going to bring that in and we're going to go I'm going to go over here. I've put my panel on, I think, the wrong way because I've not got any gems up there, but before I send this out I'll put some gems in that flower as well. so it all matches, so it doesn't matter. But that would then complete our third little demo for the evening. So if you've got any questions before I say goodnight, let me know in the comments and I will do my very best to answer them for you. If not, we will get Pete to pick a winner and we will leave you all in peace. Colours for that little mix that we did were Amethyst, Larry Marr, Violet Sapphire and Pink Sapphire, because I think I see a question about that. Sue asks, am I using the 1 or the 2mm foam tape? For this one, it was all the 1mm. But I do, in honesty, I do sometimes yo-yo between the two. But I am a bit in love with the 1mm at the moment. I'm doing a lot with the 1mm. Mostly because I feel I can fit in more layers without ending up with a door style card. Because I do love my layers. But I've always been somebody who uses 3mm tape. And you end up with quite a thick card. So it's kind of nice to have the 1mm and the 2mm to sort of yo-yo between. And sometimes, and this probably sounds silly, if it's a big gap in colour, so like I'm putting white on top of black, for instance, then I tend to use a bigger step than if I'm putting cream on top of white. And I don't know why that is, but just giving you some inside logic to my ramblings. And especially on like layers like this, sometimes if I was going between the pearl and the ivory, I'd be more tempted to go for a thinner level and then do a thicker level going between the gold and the pearl. I don't know why, it's just something I tend to find I do a bit of. Are there any other questions we have missed, Peter, at any stage while I've been sort of yabbering on about and not really paying attention like I should be, because I'm useless?
Just ask if there's any other different colours coming in the ice gold, similar to the ice gold pearl card. It's a work in progress, I think.
That is a work in progress. So you know us, we believe in complete honesty. We'll probably tell you too much, to be fair. But I always think honesty is the best policy. So the people who we get our card from, they have one option, and that is our ice gold card. And then looking around at the market to try and bring you, or for us to bring you some other pearl cards under our brand, whether they're ones that are made for us or not, they're just hellishly expensive. I don't know if anyone's aware of this, and you might have heard other creators or brands or demonstrators talk about this, but the price of card over the last little while has literally like tripled in price, and it's getting really, really tricky to find you card at competitive prices. I don't know what I'm allowed to tell you. I might get the eyes.
Oh, you're getting the eyes.
I might get the eyes from the other end of the room. And I am talking, and this is kind of a lot with us. Nothing happens tomorrow, or very few things happen tomorrow. But we do have a new card possibly coming
We're
next
in conversation,
year.
aren't we?
We're in conversation,
yeah,
with a new supply of card. It's not pearl, because that would have been a simple answer to your question.
it's very different, isn't it?
But it's different. But that will be sort of probably more middle of next year. You know, I know it sounds silly, but we have to plan that far in advance to get bits here and to make sure that we're sort of chugging at the right speed for you. And we had a bit of a speed bump with the Create and Craft fiasco, but we're starting to get our cogs back turning and back in order a little bit. And yeah, so there is more card options hopefully coming later down the line. But that's a big sneaky for a long time. So don't look for that too soon. And it's always tricky when I say things that are coming, because I feel like you're part of our little family. And I genuinely mean that, especially to you lot who join in with our lives and are here for every comment and every post. And you know, you're in our world and we're in this together. So I'm very honest, I'm very open, and I tell you what's going on and why it's going on. But every now and again I do get people who hear from sort of outside, not the circle, because that sounds a bit tricky, a little bit clicky, but people who pick us up and sort of don't know everything that's going on all of the time. And don't blame anybody, because you can't listen to me waffle for endless hours every week. But they kind of miss the it might be a way. I had somebody the other day, didn't we? We mentioned that circles were coming in, the nesting dies, and they messaged and they're like, well, where can I buy them? I want them today. And we do talk a lot in advance, so forgive us. Sorry if that confuses. But we are always several months ahead. And that is something that is coming up shortly, hopefully, if all goes to plan. We'll have to see. But if all goes to plan, there will be some fun new card and bits coming up. I see a question about what is behind my head. I reckon it's going to be this, Fran. Have you seen this before? You might have seen this before. This is our lovely MDF tag by Lynn, that Lynn created. She's good at tags, isn't she? She's good at everything, our lovely Lynn, but she made that lovely yellow tag we showed you earlier. This is another tag that she's done. She's used some of our diamond white texture paste on here. She's done some stamping and heat embossing. She's done some blending with the blue quick dry ink. She's stamped her sentiment using one of our circular sayings and then one of our verse stamps. She's added on this beautiful poinsettia with our poinsettia petals. This is our classic poinsettia, and then she's added in the winter foliage pieces coming from around the edges of that one. I love this, and I know it's kind of getting close to Christmas, so I should probably take it off the shelf behind me, but I love it so much that it sort of stays in place because it's so gorgeous, and I really like that. So hopefully that answers that question. Okay, I'm going to leave you in peace, I believe, because I am waffling now, lots and lots of rubbish, I suppose. So let's leave you in peace. But before we go, Pete, come on, give us the winner.
Okay, so our lovely winner this evening is little drum roll, didn't we?
So what was that highlight? I've been trained to tap, so I can tap here too.
They're on the edge of their seats, aren't they? I can tell. Is Sue Lindsay. Well done, Sue.
Oh, congratulations, Sue Lindsay. Can you please pop us a message with your address? And would you like any of them, all of them, or none of them signed? I never mind either way. This is all about you, whether you want to store them, keep them, bin them, give them away, whatever you wish. But if you'd like them signed, then please let me know and we'll sign them for you. And if you can please give us your address, then I'll get the team to pop them in the post to you as soon as possible. Now, of course, if you didn't pick up on this already and you haven't seen it in the comments, our Craft Stash Live is at 10 AM tomorrow morning. So I hope you can join us for that. There will be lots more demos with the Rippled Blooms collection. I think I've got, I don't know, I won't tell you how many, but I've got a few demos to do. It's about an hour that I should be with Lou. Love being with Lou. So join us both in the morning, and that is on the Craft Stash Facebook page. So if you haven't already gone and liked that, then please do go and like that and be with us in the morning, bright and breezy at 10. And hopefully we'll have a bit more inspiration for you with this collection and a few more demos to hopefully keep you inspired in crafting. But thank you very much for joining us all this evening. It's genuinely been a joy, it always is. And from me and Pete, good night.
Good night.
We'll see you all soon. Bye for now.